Hi guys, welcome back to the Playroom. Today we're going to take a look at an American Scout sniper from the Korean War armed with the M3 infrared sniper scope system. This figure was produced by Dragon Models in 2001. The first night vision devices intentionally designed for warfare were developed by Germany in the early 1930s. It was a man-portable night sniping system. It was called the Vampire system and was first used in combat in February of 1945. They came too late in the war and in too few numbers to have any impact on the outcome, but it did lend credence to the theory that infrared systems could be useful on the battlefield. During the Battle of Okinawa, a handful of American soldiers tested the prototype of a new weapon designed to help them during nighttime operations. In 2003, Hasbro produced this G.I. Joe figure with the T1 prototype system. I believe it's the only action figure available with this system. It was discovered that infrared light could make indistinct objects visible in the darkness. An M1 carbine was modified with a battery-powered infrared detecting scope and an emitter, or a spotlight, that soldiers aimed the weapon at a target and scanned the area with infrared light. The light was invisible to the naked eye, so it could be seen only with the special equipment on the weapon. The reflected light was captured by the scope and converted into magnified images, and the soldiers could now detect enemy movement in the dark and fire with greater accuracy in low light or no light conditions. The rifle-mounted system weighed about 20 pounds, and the backpack carried battery pack, and the electronics added another 20 pounds, making the system quite heavy. Now our figure is dressed in the World War II 1943 pattern fatigue uniform with field jacket and buckle-top boots. He carries a 3-clip magazine pouch with an extra 30-round magazine in his belt and a general-purpose equipment bag over his shoulder. You can see all the detail that Dragon Models put into the M3 infrared scope and carbine. Compare it to the photos of the actual components. It's really quite accurate, especially when you consider that this figure was released in 2001. Now, with the onset of the Korean War, the next upgraded version, the M3, was introduced. A 6-volt battery was used to power the system. The power pack used a transformer to increase the voltage to the 20,000 volts needed to operate the system. This system was operated by a trigger switch on the foregrip. You press the switch and the system is active. Release and it's off. This was meant to conserve battery power. Dragon Models reproduced the battery pack with the same detail as the scope system. The 6-volt battery was a lead-acid type battery and added most of the weight to the electronics section. The electronics were made up of vacuum tubes and were subject to breakage in rough use. The battery and electronics package was carried in a rubberized backpack with the power cable feeding from underneath the backpack to the scope. The cable was connected to the battery using a quick disconnect plug. An on and off switch was located next to the battery connector as a safety feature. You did not want to connect the plug to the battery with the battery switch on, or else it would show you where the ground was real fast. Dragon made the backpack using an olive drab cloth, but in reality, the backpack was a black rubberized canvas material. The M3 version had an estimated range of up to 170 yards, but was usually used for much closer in fighting. The name sniper scope is misleading, as the system was only reliable to about 50 yards or so. Therefore, it was used primarily for perimeter duty. The infrared light allowed detection and elimination of enemy sappers and infiltrators in near total darkness. Only around 2,000 of these scope systems were used by the Army and Marines in the Pacific Theater and Korea. But this first ever use of an infrared operational system proved its usefulness against nighttime infiltration tactics. The system was also used by other UN forces, such as Great Britain and Australia, and was used by the British forces in Malaysia. The infrared modified carbine helped the Allies in their fight for victory during the latter part of World War II and the Korean conflict, and was the forerunner of today's night vision systems. Now, if you're curious about the history of the M3 infrared sniper scope, there are several YouTube channels that you can visit to find out more. One of the best is by Royal Armouries, and I'll leave a link to their channel in the description box below. And here's a little useless trivia. Did you know that during the Korean War there was an adapter available to mount the M3 system on the M20 Super Bazooka? Oh yeah, it's true. And as soon as I find photographic proof, you'll see it first right here. Well guys, that's enough for today. But you can always stop back again. The playroom's always open and Big Sarge is always here.